Welcome, welcome, welcome. How are you guys doing? Let me know if you can hear me, if you can see me. We are live on Thursday. How's everybody doing this afternoon? Let me know as you guys are joining me, if you can hear me, if you can see me. If we're live. And if you're catching this on the replay, comment in the comments replay so that I can see that you guys are catching this training on the replay. I'm so excited to be with you guys today. So welcome. Today's training is all about sales. Sales, one of my favorite topics, something that I feel like is not talked about enough, and specifically high ticket sales. So high ticket coaching, as you guys are joining us, we're talking about high ticket coaching sales. So let me know if you guys are excited to hear about sales, if this is a topic that is, relevant to you. If you're a coach, it is, because in order to have clients, we have to make sales. Awesome. Let me know in the comments if you can hear me. Comment yes in the comments. And if you cannot hear me and you're catching this on the replay, comment replay. Alrighty, my friends. So really what we're digging into today in terms of sales, it's not going to be those one-liners. I don't have any zingers for you to magically have sales appear in your business. But really what we're talking about today is the mindset, right? The mindset shifts, the sales psychology that needs to happen in order for you to do high ticket selling with ease, with confidence, right? In a predictable and consistent way, a way that feels authentic, that feels in service of your clients. These are the things that we're going to be talking about today because it's not happening enough in the coaching world. So let me know if you want to hear about how to do sales that way. Let me know in the comments. All right. And I'm just going to share some of my observations, some of the things that I've learned from being someone that has hated sales and hated the idea of sales, especially in the beginning. I was terrified of selling in the beginning. It made me nauseous even thinking about having to make someone an offer. And so what I've found over the years of doing this is it really boils down to, just a few main areas that we're going to talk about today. And, obviously, as you guys know, we specialize in high ticket selling. Right? So our clients come to us, without a background in selling and maybe never even selling one high ticket client before. And they start enrolling their first clients at $2K, $3K, bare minimum $1K for a client, right? And even this week, one of our clients signed her first client in OCI at $6,300, paid in full. So everything we sell is high ticket, right? So I want to touch on a couple points that I know keep a lot of coaches from, really realizing their potential as coaches to actually be able to make really good money and also sign clients, high ticket clients. All right. So is that something you guys want to hear? Let me know in the comments if you're excited about this. Let me know if this is something that you're looking to up level in your own coaching business. If you want to be able to sign your first high ticket client, maybe your first high ticket client at $6,300, right? Or do you want to at least be able to confidently raise your prices? Maybe you've been stuck in a price plateau. How many of you feel stuck with your prices or just unsure about how much you can charge and how to charge high ticket? Let me know that in the comments because I want to talk about some really fundamental truths to really being able to grasp this and the difference between the people that succeed at high ticket selling and the ones that quit and just never sell anything. They never sign clients. So here's the number one thing, and this is right off the bat. This is number one thing that holds coaches back from selling high ticket, okay? number one reason, belief, mindset, why coaches struggle with this is you thinking it's a lot of money. So go into the comments if you've ever felt that way, where you've wanted to sell high ticket, but in the back of your mind, you have a nagging belief like it's a lot of money though. What I'm offering is a lot of money. I see this all the time with coaches and entrepreneurs, business owners. They struggle to do high ticket because they think it's a lot of money. So if you think it's a lot of money, right, and you have this sense of anxiety and you're nervous about it and you have that energy and you feel like a lot of pressure and it feels so uncomfortable and scary, to you, that energy is going to come across to the person you're talking to. Energetically, that will be felt. How many of you can agree that if you think it's a lot of money, the person that you're offering it to can probably feel that, and they're probably going to agree with you that it's a lot of money? Let me know in the comments if you can understand, like if you agree with that. Like if I'm scared to make this high ticket offer because I kind of think it's a lot of money, they're probably going to tell me the exact same thing I'm thinking. Let me know that. Why is that? Right? Because if you think it's a lot of money, then that coach isn't going to feel confident, right? Because we have to remember the most important piece of selling anything is your energy. It's, do you believe in it? Do you believe it's worth it for them to invest high ticket? Right? We're going to talk about that today. But selling is energy. High ticket selling is all about energy. That's why we talk so much about mindset and what your beliefs are and which ones might be limiting you, because that is what holds people back from being able to break through into high ticket selling. It's the energy that you feel. So no matter how much you try to hide, how much you try to smile and be energetic and try to be the persona of someone that you think you should be in order to sell whatever you see people doing, right? That energy will still be felt if in your heart you're like, this is a lot of money, right? When you perceive it to be a lot of money, it's really hard for you to be confident to sell it. So what do we do about that? How do we break through that belief in our subconscious? How do we normalize that so it's not a lot of money when we're offering it to clients? What do you think the answer is? How do we normalize this for our brain? How do we normalize that psychology? Number one, you have to invest in yourself at a higher level, right? You have to make bigger decisions. You have to think bigger. You have to invest bigger. You need to make empowered decisions for yourself, right? Because this feeds into number two. And I see this all the time with entrepreneurs, which is like, they're trying to sell at a price point that they're not willing to invest in themselves. I've actually had coaches say that, right? Oh, I want to sell this 2K package, but I would never spend 2K. There's a misalignment there in your own belief and your own who you're being. It's not authentic to what you're selling. It's the number one thing that will block you from selling high ticket. You haven't made that shift internally yourself. So if you want to sell a $3,000 package, $4,000 package, $5,000 package, $10,000 transformational package, and you're in your own head, buffering back and forth, going around in circles for 6 months to make a decision to invest, a few $1,000s into your own growth in order to get there, think about that. Energetically, that's misaligned. It's never going to work. You think your clients are going to be able to tell that you don't actually believe in what you're asking them to do, right? So if you're not acting in alignment and in integrity with what you're trying to do and what you're trying to sell, an extremely difficult time selling it. It's going to be impossible, right? Or you might sell one person, but it's going to feel so icky. You're going to feel terrible because you don't believe anybody should spend that kind of money, right? So, and I remember, the reason I'm sharing this with you is I remember being there, right? Being scared of, investing in myself and being afraid of, asking somebody else to do that same thing because I was really scared of it, right? And I remember a time where I invested $12,000 in coaching, right? And it was one of my first investments. And that investment in others, it's brought me to the place where I have a 7-figure business, right? It changed my perspective on everything. So what I see coaches do in the past, and this is what I've done in the past, is, investing in low-level solutions like a 997 course here or a 1997 course there, because that's within my bubble, like that was within my comfort zone, right? So your brain starts believing, well, that's what people buy, right? That's the evidence your brain has of what people actually invest, right? Selling low-price solutions, and oftentimes, even less than that, it's like $200 a month, right? You don't have to raise your hand, but just ask yourself, like, how much am I asking people to invest? And is that because that's where my barometer is in my comfort zone bubble, right? So that's how I was. That's where my bubble was, right? And once you start bumping up against that comfort zone, right, if you're not able to move past that, you don't ever expect somebody else to be able to do the same thing, right? So, and the reason why this is so important is because you're not just hypothetically saying to somebody like, oh, you should invest $3,000 into this transformational program because it's going to change your life. You're going to change the whole trajectory of your life. Your health is going to transform. Your relationships are going to transform. It's going to be amazing. And it's all hypothetical, right? You're like, I just believe this is going to be so great for them. It's not hypothetical when you are living it, right? So this is number one. This is the reason why I'm mentioning this, and it's probably going to ruffle some feathers straight out the gate, is because this is the truth. This is what holds most people back from feeling confident to charge high ticket. You thinking it's a lot of money, right? So number one, if you think it's a lot of money, energetically, you've already created a disconnect between you and your client. And then that's always going to be out of integrity with what you're selling, right? And number two, if you're not investing in that level that you want to be selling, again, out of integrity. And here's the other area where people really struggle when trying to figure out, okay, well, how am I going to justify this in my head, like a high ticket price? If I want to charge $5,000, how do I justify that in my head that it's worth making an offer to someone for $5,000? Right? And a lot of people start thinking about it and doing the math, and they start looking at the deliverables in their program, and they're like, okay, I'm going to talk to them, and I'm going to meet with them for like 2 hours, and then, we're going to meet X amount of times per month. And wow, that's like, I don't know if I can justify charging like, $500 an hour, and so they start doing the math in their head by the hour. And this is where a lot of you are stuck. How many of you start trying to figure out your packages, or trying to figure out your packages right now, and you're crunching the numbers and you're thinking about how much work this is going to be for you and how much time it's going to take and how much realistically should that add up to on a monthly basis to figure out your pricing and whether it falls into the high ticket category? Let me know in the comments if you've done this before, if you're already kind of trying to figure it out and this is one of the ways you're thinking about it. Crunching the numbers and saying how many hours you're going to be working with them a month, and then what would that break down to on a month-to-month price point? Like, no, you're not. They're not paying you for 4 hours of your time, right? They're paying you for the next 20, 30, 40 years of their life because of the work that they're going to do with you and the transformation they're going to make. They're paying you to have a transformation. They're not paying you for how much they think you're worth, or how expert you are, or how many certifications you have on the wall behind you, or letters after your name, or how many testimonials or clients you've worked with. They're not paying you for your time or any of those other things. They are paying you for a transformation. They're investing into themselves to get the outcome. You are a results coach, right? This is so huge for high ticket selling. So many people, so many business owners make this mistake when they're doing the calculations mentally, right? I can't charge $5,000 an hour, right? You're not charging them for an hour of your time. This is the whole reasoning behind them investing into a package to make a transformation, because we've all had clients that have invested for an hour of our time to come meet with us for an hour of our time, how much transformation can be made in just one session? Let me know in the comments if you think it's possible for someone to make a transformation with an hour of your time. Let me know what you think. Can you make a total transformation in a session? What do you think, guys? Is that what they're investing in? So I want you to start shifting that perspective, shifting what they're actually investing in. They're investing in their transformation. They're investing in the next 20, 30, 40 years. So if we start pricing that in the old model, the way we used to do things, or maybe the way we've seen it modeled for us by other people who've been stuck in an old model, you're going to be pricing yourself as a commodity and just stacking yourself up against all of the other coaches who are priced as a commodity. And then your clients are going to choose their investment thusly, right? It takes time to make a transformation. Exactly. And it takes time for them to do that internal work on themselves and to make those changes in their life. They're not investing in hours with you. They're investing into a package to make a transformation so they can have a different life on the other side of it, right? We've all had this thought before. That's why I'm bringing it up about pricing per hour. And a lot of us also have the thought around charging high ticket that nobody in our town would ever be able to pay for a high ticket package. How many of you, like myself, grew up in a small town or in a rural area, right? I'm from Michigan, so I've spent a lot of time in small towns when I've grown up, and nobody in those communities were investing into high ticket programs, to my knowledge, right? So a lot of times our environment and the evidence that we show ourselves creates these beliefs about what people will actually value, right? Growing up in a small town where there's not a lot of money flowing in, there was a lot of story around all of that. And a lot of it was scarcity. So when I started selling my own high ticket package, it's like, I was terrified. I thought, literally, how am I going to convince people to invest in this level? I thought it was a lot of money. I had all this story around it. I had this mindset drama around money. So this is so important. This is the reason why we're spending so much time on step number 1. What is your mindset around the value of high ticket? And what do you think about the money? If you think it's a lot and you yourself are not walking the walk, you're not someone that actually values coaching and invests in it in that way, it's always going to be out of integrity. So you have to decide what your reasons are. Which camp you're in, you better like your reasons, right? You better be 100% in on your reasons. And if you're not, then you should question whether they're there because of a story around money. Right? If you're going to lean one way or the other, you got to go all in, right? And just decide what you want to believe. And if you want to believe something that's bumping up against a limiting belief, you get to decide right now whether you want to keep that story or you want to let it go. Whether you want to stay in your bubble and stay in your comfort zone or let it go. Because in order for your clients to get out of their bubble, in order for your clients to do something and step out of their comfort zone and invest in themselves, you need to be able to hold that authority for them. You need to be able to stay strong. Because if you are scared and you've never done something like that before because you could never get yourself to do it and you have a money story, when your client's fear comes up, you're going to jump in the pool with them and you're going to be scared for them to make that investment. Is this making sense to everybody? Let me know in the comments if this makes sense. Why this is such an important piece to sales, especially high ticket sales. Because your clients, even though they're high ticket clients, they're feeling the same way as you. They're having that same human reaction come up, and that's why they need a coach. They need someone to hold the space for them to decide if they like their reasons for what's coming up for them, right? And unless you've addressed that fear story, that money story, it will keep coming back to you in the form of your clients. Like, sales is the best mirror for you, for your entire life. Whatever's going on in your personal life, it will be reflected back to you in your sales, in the prospects that you attract, exactly what you're putting out. It's always a mirror, and it's the biggest learning lesson. It's the biggest personal development tool that you can go all in on. Promise you that. So it's my favorite topic because I love to see personal growth, and I've experienced so much personal growth as a result of this in my own life. So that's important from a mindset perspective and energy perspective. Is everybody with me so far on that piece of it? That's step one. We're going to talk about some more pieces that's missing in high ticket sales, right? So one of the main reasons that people think they're not good at selling is because they think they have this conception, again, this is also mindset, but they have this conception that they need to be, doing air quotes right now, a natural born salesperson, right? You could say it another way. Maybe you have a belief that you have to be a natural extrovert, and maybe you're not an extrovert, right? Oh, I'm just not naturally good with people, or I don't have the gift of the gab, or, you know, whatever the belief is around who you need to be, the type of personality you need to have in order for people to buy from you. Oh, that person is really good at sales and getting clients because she's just so naturally friendly and extroverted. But what we have found, right, and this is coming from someone who used to label herself an introvert. I don't like those labels because of the way it makes people show up, and the identity sometimes can be negative, right? So if it's not an empowering identity, you don't call yourself an introvert. But coming from someone who's worked with so many different personalities, introverted and extroverted, oftentimes it's not naturally the most chatty, the most extroverted people that can really genuinely connect with their clients and make those sales, right? Sometimes the people that are naturally chatty and naturally extroverted have a harder time connecting and listening. So that the coaches that you would think wouldn't naturally be good at sales are becoming the best coaches out there and the best at sales there are, breaking all of the rules that we've been, as a society, told about what sales should look like. And that's what we've noticed in business. It's like the people that never thought they could sell anything and didn't seem confident at all, now they're connecting with their clients. Now they're enrolling clients and they're living their dreams. But because we have all these subconscious beliefs about what it takes to make a sale, because for the past however many years, we've been told that in order to make sales, you have to be able to pound the pavement and knock on lots of doors and make all of these calls before you can get a yes. And how many of you want to have to be that person? Have you ever been on the opposite side of a door-to-door salesperson, or maybe someone who is cold calling you on the phone? You've got like 30 seconds before, if you're the salesperson, they're closing the door, they're hanging up, if that, right? And so there's this high pressure, almost like you're trying to convince them and grab their attention to do something that they don't already want from you. They don't already want to do. It's totally backwards to what we do with high ticket sales, right? But that's the past evidence of what our brain has for what sales is, right? So in the past, the person who was willing to pound the pavement, willing to have doors slammed in their face, willing to get hung up on, oh, that was the person that made it. Oh, he had thick skin. He was willing to get rejected and all of these things, right? And so maybe in the past, without a good process, with the way that sales has been for so many years, maybe that was true, right? With a bad process, even the most tenacious person can be successful, right? But when we do sales the right way, where it's focused on service and it's not about getting something from the client, but it's more about getting to the truth and helping the client decide for themselves what they want, now we're having a completely different conversation. Now it's not about being that person that our brains have thought a salesperson needs to be. How many of you feel relieved right now just thinking like, oh, thank goodness, I don't have to be that way to have clients and be a coach? I want to be a coach and I want to help my clients and I just want to make an impact. It makes me sick to have to think of being one of those salespeople. How many of you feel relieved just even thinking that you don't have to be that person who's pounding the pavement, going door to door, cold calling, and being that needy, desperate, salesy person who's putting out that energy? It doesn't feel good. And if it doesn't feel good, your clients, like we talked about, will be able to feel that as well. And it will not feel good for them either, right? So if you don't have to do any of those things, then yeah, maybe being a little bit outgoing, maybe that would serve somebody. But the coaches that don't have any of those natural characteristics, who have this process down, what we're talking about today, which is having a conversation that comes from the heart, that comes from service, right? There's an actual process behind it. There's an actual skill to it. There's a way to do it, but it's centered on service. It's centered on authenticity. It's centered on getting to the truth and knowing your client. You don't have to be a chatty Cathy. You don't have to be the most extroverted person on the planet. You don't have to have the gift of the gab. You have to be able to listen and connect. And if you know that you are meant to be a coach, then that's part of your calling, is to be able to listen and connect. How many of you feel that that's your calling? To listen to your clients, connect, help understand them, help understand their problems. That's what the market wants. That's what people want. The market doesn't want what we've seen for so many years from salespeople, right? People don't want that anymore. People are tired of those tactics, that needy energy, that I just got to close them. I got to close the deal at all costs, even if it's not in their best interest. Got to get them as a client. People want real connection, real conversation. They want someone that cares. So when we look at coaches who are, for example, the coaches that are successful in OCI, we're looking for people that can genuinely connect, genuinely are here in service of their clients, because that energy will be felt. And if that's the energy you're coming from, we can teach you the process. We can teach you the syntax of how the conversation goes. But for a lot of us in the beginning, if you're like me, you're like, oh man, I'm just terrified to talk to a client and make offers. I'm just so terrified to ask for someone's money. But if you actually have the proper training, right? Using some of these strategies that we teach that I'm going to talk to you about, and you really do that and you invest in that properly, you can really create a whole new experience around sales. It's around connection, service, and integrity. I love training those coaches because I can feel it exuding from them. That's the energy of someone who's here to serve. Right? You don't need to be pushy. You don't need to be high pressure. You don't need to be icky. You don't need to be a liar. You don't need to be any of those things in the past. You get to show up as a coach. And when you're coming with that energy to a call and you align it with a process that gives them 100% clarity why they need you, so you're not guessing on what to say or how to say or any of that stuff, that energy is felt. And now the clients are empowered with clarity on what they need because your process gave them clarity and your energy was that of service. And they don't feel like they're being sold by somebody or pressured by somebody. And now you have the energy of so much belief and so much integrity in the offer you're making, because you are the living, breathing example of what it looks like to invest in yourself. When your client is ready to make that decision, you have everything you need to stand in belief for them. Now you've got a sales process that lifts up your clients, that gives them the power to make a good decision and join your program. How many of you would like to have that experience with your clients? Right? If you show people and you help people uncover the truth, 9 times out of 10, they're going to want to solve it. They want to solve the problem. And the problem is if you can't authentically connect because of all of that energy we talked about at the beginning, you're never going to get close to the truth. You're never going to be able to have an authentic conversation with them. Right? And it's fun. Sales is fun when you get to help people step into a transformation in their life. How many of you think sales could be fun if your clients were actually thanking you at the end of the call for giving them so much clarity and helping them feel so empowered about the direction of the life that they want to go towards? Right? Treat people the way that you want to be treated. You're their advocate. That's why you're a coach. When people apply to work with OCI, half the time we don't make them an offer to join OCI. I've talked about this before. It's like when we get on a call with someone, we give them so much massive value. We still blow their minds on the call. We still help them. We still we steer them whichever direction is best for them and serves them. Half the time, if it's not a fit, that's what we're going to tell them. We're going to tell them exactly what would be a fit for them. That's standing in integrity. That's having moral authority as a coach, right? That's a game changer for your clients. Are you there to close them at all costs? Just get a client? Are you there to sell them and close them? Or are you going to serve them and be their advocate? Which is something that you do with someone. It's a huge difference. Let me know if you guys are following me on this. Let me know if this makes sense. This is sales. This is not sales in what you've seen in the past. This is not the sales tactics that we've all been programmed to believe. And I want you to think about sales. That whole conversation is the beginning of your coaching relationship with your client. It's just starting out. So how you enroll that person, it sets the tone for the rest of the relationship. So if they feel like you sold them something they didn't need just because you were out there to make a sale, they're going to feel like that in your program. Like you just manipulated them into making a bad decision. And then how are you supposed to ever affect change and transformation in their life if you didn't have that kind of conversation from the beginning? And one of the last reasons that I'm going to touch on today, why I see coaches struggling with sales, is that their process that you're using, right? We talked about the process being all backwards, right? So flip the process and you're on the right track, okay? There's an actual process to sales. There's a way to do it right and a way to do it wrong. And the way we've been demonstrated for so many years in the industry is backwards to what actually sets you up for a good coaching relationship. And one of the last reasons for that is because it doesn't address sales psychology or human psychology. It ignores human decision-making nature, right? Because of the old ways of sales, right? Being bombarded, where your phone just keeps going off the hook. What happens is we start building up these defense mechanisms, right? This is the psychology now of the market that's shifted. We have all of these defense mechanisms around sales. So we as buyers, our defenses are up here, and if you feel like someone's trying to get something from you, you're never going to be comfortable enough to have an authentic conversation with them They're not going to be able to help you get to the truth about what you need and point you in the right direction, right? We have these altered defense mechanisms now just because we're so scarred from what we've experienced with sales in the past. Make sense? So how many of you have ever, I think of like around the holidays when I used to do Christmas shopping in stores, and I would walk into a Macy's store and there's immediately 3 people standing there with a perfume bottle trying to get me to smell their perfume. Let me know if you've ever experienced that, where you're walking through a store and you know those people on the floor are, you're trying not to make eye contact with them. That's your defense mechanism. Oh, I'm just looking, you don't look at me. This is just natural human psychology now. And so most of the sales tactics that are taught out there, and the reason why people struggle with high ticket is because they don't understand this human defense mechanism. Right? So what is the number one objection someone will give you? If you think about it, in my example with someone in a Macy's department where I'm kind of giving them an objection, oh, I'm just looking, oh, thanks, so I'll come back later. That's the number one objection that people will give you. After you go through the whole conversation with them and you make them an offer, you know what, I'm just looking, I'm just really doing my research right now. Let me think about it. I never make decisions on the spot. I need to talk to my spouse. Even though they're not married, even if they're not married, let me talk to my spouse. Let me think about it. Let me get back to you. Can I sleep on it and get back to you, right? This is a human defense mechanism that you're bumping up against because they're coming with all of their internal resistance to having to make a decision because of their past experiences with sales. How many of you have ever given one of those objections? I know I have. I know I've done that before for something when I really didn't want to have to decide. I thought, you know what? Okay, is there any way I can get back to you? Like, is there any way that I can just kind of think about it and get back to you? This is a normal human reaction that's coming up. And so if you don't have a process in place to have understanding for where they're coming from, you're going to be that bulldozer salesperson that you don't want to be. So understanding that your clients are coming with those same emotions that you probably have had before in a decision-making situation where you were thinking about buying something. But the reality is, if you jump in the pool with them when they're feeling defensive and they're feeling scared, you say, okay, go on your merry way, call me later, you're letting them continue on the life in the same direction of the life they just said was so terrible. Does that make sense? If someone just uses a defense mechanism to get out of a decision with you, you're not really standing up and holding the belief for them about what's possible on the other side. You're no longer being a leader. You're no longer being a coach to them anymore. It's like if your client were to come to you to make a lifestyle change because their eating habits are so bad, their doctor said, you really need to get some help. You need to have someone help you make some better decisions. And you go to your coach who's supposed to be there to help you make better decisions, and you say, you know what, I'm just gonna, eat the Twinkies tonight, and then can I get back to you tomorrow about, starting the plan tomorrow? Okay, yeah, call me back tomorrow, it's fine. You're not being their coach for them anymore. There is an actual process for holding the space and being a coach and loving your clients to help bring them out of that fight or flight and bring down the scary. Because we as a society are so scarred from sales. There's an actual process to make sales not scary, not pushy, and bring down the defenses of your clients so that they can actually make an empowered decision for the direction they want to go with their life. If you do not know how to do that and you do not know how to serve your clients on that level, you will continue to hear those objections. You're going to continue to feel burned by your clients. Like, nobody's committed. It's going to continue to sound too expensive. It's going to continue to sound like I can't afford it. I don't have the money. In reality, those are buyer defenses. And they work. It gets them off the phone, and then their life continues in the same way it's been the last 20, 30 years. This is the difference between being a really strong coach who is able to serve your clients and being a baby coach who lets your clients off the hook when they go into a self-destructive pattern. It's your ability to stand there and love them and hold space for them when all of those emotions are coming up. So what we're talking about is getting them crystal clear on what's really going on and inviting them to make a decision if they want to get help with that. So if you don't understand those principles, you're probably going to be out of the game really quickly, or you're just never going to get started in the game. You're going to be sitting on the sidelines wishing that you could be a coach. All right? And lastly, if you're not already, get with someone that understands that structure. Get with someone that can teach you an authentic way of enrolling people into high-ticket transformational programs, into a totally different structure for the sale, for the conversation. Get with someone who's going to normalize that for you. Normalize making big sales without being icky or salesy or high pressure. And most importantly, normalize for you making money. Making money. So at OCI, we consistently cash collect, right? Not on contracts, cash collect over $100K every month into the business. That's new business. Using this structure, using this authentic conversation. It's all about serving the client. And that's normal now. That's a normal experience. And so if that's not normal to you, you need to get in the environment of people that are playing at a higher level. It's people that want to show up bigger. Because if I just stayed in my normal, in my small town, there's nothing to stretch me. There's no goal that feels like a stretch that I really want to achieve that causes me to believe bigger and show up bigger. We have our own fears. We have our own limiting beliefs. We have all of this resistance, the what ifs, right? But if we just go off on our own and try to just figure it out without anybody walking us through this, that's why so many people are unsuccessful. And that's the other thing that drives me crazy about the coaching industry. Think about this, guys. So many people in the coaching industry brag about how many clients they just enrolled last month. Oh, we're enrolling so many clients. We've got hundreds and we've got thousands of clients in our program now. We've helped like 500, 1,000 clients, and we're just enrolling like hotcakes. And whenever I hear that, I cringe, right? Because what they're doing, and this is a big distinction in sales, and I really want you all to pay attention to this. Okay, what we're talking about is enrolling your clients into service of your clients. So if you're enrolling and bragging about the numbers, I cringe because I know in the coaching industry and in the online marketing industry, a lot of times it's like as a coach, they're enrolling people into something that's not supporting their clients, right? Because serving your clients requires you to put a lot of heart and soul into it. It's work. And for most companies, they're just not willing to do that, right? So it's so important if you want help with this process, what are you investing into? Are you investing into something that's going to support you and support you through your own personal growth into being that coach, right? Or something that has 10,000 members where it's just information? Because information does not equal transformation. My friends, hear me on this. Information does not equal transformation. I really want you guys to understand this. Sales is energy. Energy is about personal development. It's not enough to learn one-liners or to be given a script. You need someone who's going to help you understand what you're doing with your clients, how to serve them in the conversation, how to serve them on the call, and how to grow into that confident coach that can handle those calls and be a leader on the call. There is no script that will teach you that. There's no online course that you can buy for $9.97 that's going to make you an expert at this process. Does that make sense? And at the end of the day, really, you can learn and you can be coached for a very long time on all the things we're talking about today, but the only antidote to the fear of sales is to go out there and take action. Do the thing that you're afraid of. You can't just learn about how to make offers, you have to actually go make offers, right? So I hope that this has been insightful for you guys. Let me know in the comments if you had any insight on any of these points we talked about today. Go into the comments and type yes if this was insightful for you, if this helped you think about sales differently, or at least put you at ease about who you need to be as a coach in order to actually be able to sell high ticket. Some of these numbers that we throw around, the 2K, 3K, 5K, they sound normal to me. But I know for a lot of you, if you haven't sold it before, and the idea of sales is scary, it's hard to envision yourself being the coach who gets paid $5,000 to have a client. So the chances are, if you're having anything come up around sales and high ticket sales, it's one of these things that we talked about today. All right? So if you want to really get over that, if you really want to master this process of being an expert coach who has powerful conversations with your clients, who serves your clients through sales into a radically different result in your own coaching business, here's my invitation for you. All right? I want to invite you to talk to someone from my team. Okay? Talk to one of my coaching business experts. All right? They will just ask you questions about where your business is at, ask you about your offer, ask you about your sales. Have you made sales? Do you have a sales issue, or do you have an opportunity volume issue? For a lot of you, you might be at the point where you're feeling confident to actually go out and make sales, but you're confident with that, but you have an issue with your leads, right? And so what my team will do is find out where you're at, find out what the holes are right now, and give you some advice. Give you direction on what's missing right now and what you need to shift, what holes you need to fill right away to start creating movement in your business, growth, momentum for you. So if that's something that you want help with, if you want someone to have a normal conversation with you and you don't want to talk to a salesperson, go into the comment and type sales. Go into the comment and type sales if you want to have a normal conversation with someone about your business. There's absolutely nothing to buy on this conversation. So even if you brought your credit card to this conversation, there's nothing for you to buy. Okay? This is not a sales conversation. It's a conversation about your business, where it's at right now. If it's a sales issue, if it's a messaging issue, if you have an opportunity volume issue, if you have a packaging issue, if you need help with your offer, your program, your sales, our team are experts at nailing down exactly what it is in a very quick time frame. Like within 15 minutes, we can have the whole thing diagnosed for you. So go into the comment and type sales. If you decide you want to talk to us about what it would look like to actually get mentorship and get inside OCI, again, nothing for sale in that conversation. You can't even do it if you wanted to, but they will direct you with the right person that you can talk to and get all of your questions answered about that. All right? So if you just want help and if you just want guidance and you just want to talk to someone from the team who can give you some laser coaching on exactly what's broken and pinpoint the first thing you need to fix, go into the comment and type sales, and someone from my team will reach out to you and give you some immediate feedback on what you can fix, what's broken, what you can plug in to your business to start getting movement. All right, we're at the end of January, last week of January. Most people, by the way, those of you on here right now, just so you know, most people at this point have already given up. By I think the third week of January, most people have given up on their goals for their business. So the fact that you're here, kudos to you. If you want some help, go into the comments, type sales so my team can find you. They're just going to give you some help, nothing to buy. Even if you wanted to, you wouldn't be able to do it then. All right? And they will direct you in whichever direction you need to go. All right, my friends, I hope this live was valuable to you. Let me know if it was. That means so much to me to hear that feedback when I get messages from you guys that this was valuable. I know that you want this. If there's other things that you want training on that would be valuable, let me know so I can continue to provide valuable insight for you all in this community. And until next time, I will talk to you all later. Bye-bye.